go here and check we're actually live. And have my chat window. Awesome. Is it working? Okay, cool. Welcome to the new video. Right, this is live, so I'm just going to invite people. So let's see if we can actually get some people to come and view it. Right, how do I share my stream? This one. Share it to Facebook. Okay. Right, let's give it a hashtag. Nobody's watching yet, so I'll start in a minute. EDS. Alrighty, let's go. Let's post it. Okay, share it. Alrighty, we're almost ready to go. Just posting on Facebook, see if we can actually get 1 or 2 people. Okay, let's go back to... Okay. Right. I'm just going to start anyway, and people can catch it on the replay. So what is Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome? It's a funny name for something. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that somebody during May for EDS Awareness Month made some videos. And I was like, that sounds a lot like my life. This is weird. So I started to read more about what Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome is. And suddenly all of the problems that I'd had my entire life had a potential cause, but I couldn't prove anything until I did a DNA test, and I found confirmation in my DNA that there's a potential glitch in my code for collagen. Because EDS is a disease. It's a genetic disease that affects the collagen in your cells, and your collagen is your glue that holds your body together. And if there's a mismatch in the code that makes that protein, then that protein doesn't form correctly. And if it doesn't form correctly, then its structural properties change. Because if you imagine it like a rope, you've got a rope and you've got multiple fibers twisted together to make the rope structure. But if one of those chains is not completely straight, it's got a bit poking out the side, or some other deformity in its structure due to its code having a different amino acid in the chain, that changes its shape. And that change in shape can have catastrophic changes to the integrity of your cells. Your cells become more easy to damage. And this can cause so many random weird effects across all of your body, because collagen is everywhere. It connects all of your cells together. It's like the scaffolding that's holding your body, all the internal organs, all the blood vessels, all the internal lining of your digestive system. Every part of your body is made from collagen. And if there's a glitch in the code, then every part of your body that's made with that particular type of collagen, there's multiple versions of collagen, and each one has roles in different parts of the body. So when you have different versions of EDS, there's currently 13 identified different versions of it. There's classical EDS, there's vascular EDS, and many more. This is not a medical explanation. This is a personal story. None of this is medical advice in any of this video. I'm just letting you know my experience of life with unknown medical conditions that doctors can't treat. And living that life is really frustrating and really horrible. So I want to raise awareness for anyone who is struggling right now, who doesn't not have any answers for why their body isn't working. So imagine if all of your internal organs, your bones, your ligaments, your muscles, everything, if the structural integrity of the cells that build you is damaged in some way, then you can have so many different symptoms. It's very personal to your body, because it depends which mutation you have in which gene, which then causes which type of collagen to be manufactured incorrectly. So the symptoms can be absolutely pretty much anything. The list of potential symptoms for EDS is crazy when you read them. I'm not going to give you a full list here. This is not a diagnostic video, but it literally can affect any part of you. And depending on the type of collagen, you will have effects in parts of the body that are related to that collagen. And we now have DNA testing available for people, so we can look for at least 12 of the variants. But unfortunately, the other one, which is hypermobile EDS, there's not currently an accepted genetic test, even though there's an excitement towards a kallikrein gene, but they haven't 100% got the science figured out on that yet. But it's coming. They are working on it. The geneticists are studying this to try and figure out how to help people. But at the end of the day, it's a genetic condition, and you can't cure it. And that sucks. It sucks for all the millions of people around the world. It's rare, but when you scale up to the levels of population, it's depending on which variant you have, it can be 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 100,000. It's not a very common condition. There is another type of similar condition called hypermobility spectrum disorder, which is also in this awareness month. It means that your joints bend in ways that are more than normal movement. So in my body, I'm really weird. The right hand side of my body is half broken, and my left-hand side of my body is more or less normal. It's really strange. But my joints, my ligaments, all the tendons that hold my muscles to my bones, everything is loose. It's like, I don't know if you see the little toys where it's like a little character and it's a spring in the bottom. You push the spring and the character falls all to pieces and then comes back to life again. That kind of feels like how my body is put together. The joints just pop and click and move all over the place. And if I'm not really careful when I move my body and lift something heavy, I can pop something really bad and be unable to move my arm for weeks, which is really annoying. So I have to be really, really careful that I position my body, I flex the right muscles, I prepare the joint for the movement that I'm about to do. Because if I don't do that, I can end up in trouble. But going back to like, how do you even know you have it? My journey took 34 years to find out. 34 years of searching through every possible way to figure out what was wrong with me and how to stop it. And then realizing you have a genetic condition there's no cure for, what do you do next? Well, that's what led me on the journey to build the BPM Lifestyle System, because I needed to make a way to feel better with a condition that is incurable. But the fact that it wasn't noticed at all when I was, going to doctors constantly in chronic pain my whole life, and they never did anything to help me, you kind of lose hope in the medical system. My first symptoms that were a little bit odd compared to the other people in my town, at school and friends and family and stuff, I was always very floppy, bendy. My body was like a rag doll, and every time I got hit, it was really, really bad. Right? It was I would be in hospital if I fell over. I'd fall over. I'm standing up. I fall over on the floor. I'd end up in hospital with my suspected broken arm or broken ankle or whatever. It was, every injury was extreme. It was, what would have normally been any other kid fell over, they just get up. I'd fall over and I'd be in hospital. It was so weird, and I had no concept of balance. It took me ages to ride a bike. Now, most kids, they get on, it takes them a few tries, and then they get there and they can ride the bike. But I had no coordination. My arms and legs didn't work together, and I had no balance system. And it turns out that, the inner ear is how your body creates balance. You have a vestibular system that monitors your position in space and allows your body to adapt and balance. Mine is a mess. It doesn't work properly. You can't see it from the outside. I look like any other person. But inside my head, the structures are different, and it makes my coordination really difficult, and balance is really difficult. I fall over all the time, and it's really annoying because when I fall over, it really hurts. I get injured really badly. And when I was 6 years old, I fell off a chair. I was literally, it was less than 2 feet off the ground. I mean, it was a chair. It wasn't a table or a ladder. It was a chair, and I broke my arm. I broke both bones, the radius and the ulnar, and they were overlapping like this. And I had to have surgery so that they could pull the bones back into alignment and then put my arm in a plaster. But from falling off a chair, really? And when I was at school, they noticed my eyes were a bit weird. One eye would face one direction, the other eye would face forwards. And my teacher told my mum, this is his eye, there's something wrong with his eyes. There was always something wrong. It was always I had to go for some test because something was wrong with me. And I got tested, and apparently they called it a squint, a lazy eye, and they recommended cutting my eyes open and cutting the muscles to realign them, and there was no way that I was letting them cut my eyes open. So I was like, no, what else can I do? that's not cutting my eyes open. And I had a training program which was incredibly difficult, but I managed to learn how to control my eyes better. It took me a few months of really, really intensive eye therapy in hospital and stuff. But eventually I learned how to move my eyes together to align them up. So remember, I had coordination problems that also applied to my eyes. So I learned how to look forwards, but I couldn't see. I still couldn't see because the world was all really blurry. And collagen is what makes your eye shape. If there's a glitch in the collagen gene that makes the collagen structure slightly odd, then the structure of the eye can change. And it's quite common for people with EDS to have myopia, or astigmatism, where your eyeball is basically like it's like a rugby ball shape instead of a round shape. It's more like American football. And this causes your vision to be terrible and blurry. And so from about 10, I was wearing glasses, and my prescription's not high myopia, it's only -4, but that's enough that I can't see any further than here without my contact lenses. So without the contact lenses, I'm almost useless. I can't even see what's directly in front of me, which is really annoying. But that wasn't the worst part of it. The worst part was the pain. I could deal with the other weird stuff, the skin rashes. My skin is super stretchy and really soft, and if I get hit, it goes red really easily, and I bruise really quickly. It's due to the collagen in the skin and the blood vessels being more fragile. So when I get hit, it's more painful and causes more damage. And ultimately, if I get damaged, the repair of that damage can be glitchy, and the pain basically doesn't go away for years. And unfortunately, because I was weird at school, I was absolutely bullied relentlessly every single day of my entire life. I was the weird freak. Everything about me, the way I walked, the way I talked, the way the things I enjoyed doing, my weird bendy body, the fact I wore glasses, the way my accent, every single thing about my appearance and what I liked, what I enjoyed doing, everything about me was ridiculed and shamed my entire life. For what? I don't know why. But that's the world I lived in at the time. If you were even remotely different, then you were just bullied every single day. And that's hard for a 10-year-old kid. It's hard for anyone. But when you have a chronic illness that nobody understands, that means that when you are violently attacked, you are permanently injured. Being beaten up every day at school for being weird is dangerous. And I don't want to get too dark in this video, but I want to inspire hope and stuff. But people need to be accountable for their actions. I was 10 years old, and I was kicked so violently in the playground that it left permanent injury. That took me 25 years to figure out a way to stop. Can you imagine that? You're 10 years old, and you're attacked in the playground, leading to a permanent injury which caused excruciating pain every single day. And you go to the doctors, and there's nothing they can do. They don't know why, they don't know how, they don't know what, they don't know anything. And you're 10 years old. You don't have any other option apart from you go to the doctor when you're in pain. And when you go there and they say, we don't know what to do. Well, they tried. It's not they didn't do anything. They tried, but everything they did made it worse. They did surgeries on me that butchered me. They gave me anesthetics that caused such a brutal allergic reaction that they can't do general anesthetic on me anymore. I'm 10 years old and I'm being butchered by doctors, causing me more pain than I was in before. Who needs that? So at the end of it, they said, "Oh, there's maybe one more thing we can try." And I was like, "I've had enough of being a guinea pig. This is not helping. I'd rather be in pain than deal with these doctors." But that's your only choice. So you live in pain, or what? There was no other choice. I just had to live with it. And that's really hard for a 10-year-old kid. So it gets a little bit dark after that. You're in pain every single day from a condition that no one understands, nobody can explain, nobody can treat. And on top of that, you're bullied for being weird every single day of your life, to the point where you are scared to go outside because you don't know if they're going to jump you or stab you or whatever else they're going to do to you. You don't know because everybody hates you, the entire town, for no reason other than you're a bit weird. Imagine living like that. You've got nowhere to go. You've got no one to help you. The teachers at school don't care about the bullying. They even join in sometimes. So it got to the point where I'm like, nah, this is not worth being on this planet anymore. I can't even leave my house without being threatened or abused in the street by random strangers, let alone the kids at school, but random people in the street. I was a kid, and they shout abuse at you. How can you do that to a child? So I was very depressed, and I turned to food and alcohol because why not? What else could I do? I was just in pain anyway. So if I just eat myself to death or drink myself to death, who cares? No one else seemed to care. No one could help me. Everyone just made it worse. And it got to the point I'm 15 years old, and this was me. I was 100 kilos. It was end game at that point. I was like, I'm never getting out of this hell that I'm in. Nobody can explain why I'm in pain every single day. Nobody cares about anything. They just attack me for being weird, and now I'm fat as well. So I was the weird fat kid. I was the weird fat kid who studied science because I needed to understand why. If doctors can't help you, what choice do you have? So I studied science. I studied chemistry, biology, physics, magic. I studied everything I could. I studied technology. I studied quantum physics. I studied everything I could possibly do to understand the universe the best I possibly could. Because if I can't understand everything about how the universe works, how the human body works, then maybe I can stop the pain. Maybe. And that search took 25 years. But I've eventually found a way to live without pain. And that's what the BPM lifestyle is. It's my journey to find a way to live without pain. And so I studied science. So I was the weird kid. I was the weird fat kid. I was the weird fat nerd kid. So I'm ticking every box of abuse that we glorify in society. Every movie is always the jock beating up the weird fat nerd. It's just built into our society. That's what they do. Everyone attacks the weird autistic fat kid. Everyone does. They hate us. If you're this kid right now and you're being abused by people in your society, I feel you, brother, sister. It's not a nice existence to have. But people are so cruel. Why? Why do that to a kid? And at that point, nobody knew my deepest, darkest secret, because if they knew, then it would be end game. They would have killed me. They didn't know I was gay as well. If they had known, then it would have been over. No way. But I managed to keep that a secret long enough that it didn't affect me directly. But at 15, it was the end game for me. I was just like, what is the point of this existence? My body was broken and my environment was so toxic that I didn't want to exist. And what would you do? What would you do if you're in that situation? What's your next step? Give up or find a way to live with it, whatever the world has given me. This is the way the world is. Okay, I've got to deal with it. I can't change the outside world. There's nothing I can do to change somebody else's behavior or opinion of me. But what I can do is change how I behave and how I react and how I live my life. So at this point, there's no internet. I can't look up symptoms or anything like that. All I knew that I was in pain every day and nobody could help me. So I studied science. I went to the library, this amazing place where they have books, because that's how you learned. Back in the 90s, there wasn't any internet at that point. So I taught myself science. Before school even started teaching science, I already was teaching myself from the library. I got every book I could on human anatomy. I could name all the bones in the body when I was about... Well, it was before I even started secondary school. I think I was... By 10 years old, I'd learned most anatomy. People now would probably call me an autistic savant or something, but I had a good memory. When I read something, I remembered it. I didn't try to... It wasn't like I was studying it because, drilling it into my brain. My brain was so eager to absorb the information because I needed it to figure out this problem of how do I live without pain. So I decided that, this would be my life's mission, to study chemistry and biology. Because if I could study at the best universities in the world, then maybe I could figure something out. So I ended up at Imperial College London, which is one of the top universities in the world for science and technology and medicine. And there I discovered a horrible secret, which I'm not even allowed to talk about on YouTube. So if you want to know about that, you have to come to my website, bpmlifestyle.com, because I'm not able to say the truth on here. Anyway, I'm studying chemistry and biology because I wanted to go into the pharmaceutical industry and design medicines to help cure cancer, help cure HIV, because I've grown up as a gay kid in the 80s with all the AIDS crisis. It was my dream was to work for the pharmaceutical companies so I could help to find cures or treatments for these horrible conditions that people suffer with. But during the course, I learned a secret that I could not accept. I could not accept it and work in that industry anymore. I don't know how much I can say on here. So I'm not going to talk about that particular part of it. But I quit university, not because I wasn't able to do it, but because it was completely overwhelming to study for 5 years to go into a corrupt industry that is not interested in helping people. I want to help people. I want to help people understand a little bit more about their biology so they can maybe make changes that can support their life a bit better. So I started to do more research, but now we had the internet, so I could do it online instead of having to go to an actual institution, because I wasn't interested in getting a qualification in chemistry. I wanted to find cures and treatments. I wanted to find ways to feel better for me. And if I could make myself feel better, then maybe I could share that with others and could help them as well. So I would study personally. I would teach myself science and absorb as much as possible, because it was not just for entertainment. It wasn't just to get a job. It was to try to cure my own pain that I'd lived with for so long. And that search is so difficult to go on, because you're in pain every day. You have to find ways to deal with it, but it hurts every single day. And to actually go through life and actually make a living and be able to do your daily stuff, to just survive, is hard work. It's really hard work. And my condition is far, far better than some. Some people are, it's a spectrum condition. You can have mild symptoms, or you can have life-threatening symptoms, or you can have disabling but not life-threatening symptoms. It depends on which version you have. And there's no support. No doctor ever mentioned it. No doctor ever would say, oh, maybe we should test your collagen because you look a bit bendy. Maybe you potentially have a problem. I mean, with all the allergic reactions that I had to all the medications they kept giving me, should have given them some kind of clue that something was not right. But no, never once did a doctor ever suggest anything that helped me. In years, I was 34 when I stopped going to doctors because I just like, what is the point? They never helped me. Everything that was wrong with me, they couldn't do anything for. They didn't even give me a why. I want to know why something is broken and what can I do to fix it? And if I can't fix it, what can I do to live better with it? Doctors didn't give me anything. Not one shred of hope. They just said you'll be in pain every day for the rest of your life. Deal with it. That was basically it. Like, okay, I'm 10. You can't help me. Great. So it got to the point where I was 43 and I saw someone talking about EDS online for EDS Awareness Month. And I was like, yeah, it sounds so similar to my childhood. It really just, it made everything make sense for the first time because it got something that linked all the random symptoms together with a single link between them all. But because doctors only look at one organ at a time, they don't look at your entire body as one. They miss it because it's everywhere. It's everywhere where collagen is. There's potential symptoms. So out of curiosity, I got my DNA genome sequenced, the full sequence, so that I could search it like Google. You search for all the different genes and you can literally go and look at your own code. It's amazing that we have this technology now. This is so cool. So I got my DNA, I scanned it and I looked in collagen and there was a variation in my COL3A1 gene, which codes for type 4 collagen. Type 3 collagen, type 4 EDS. It's called vascular EDS. It's incredibly rare, and they think maybe 1 in 100,000 people maybe have it. It's so rare that there's not enough data for them to make accurate predictions from the DNA test. Unless they have enough evidence from enough people that all show the same variant as being pathogenic, then they don't know the significance of the variation. They don't know how exactly it affects the structure. So there's some variations that are directly pathogenic, and there's some that they call them variants of unknown significance. It means that it's not normal, but they don't know what it does exactly because there's not enough data. So the more people that have tests, the more data will build up, the more people will be able to be diagnosed more accurately. But not enough testing and not enough people at the moment, so we need more information. But to have a variation on your COL3A1 gene is not fun because that is the code for your blood vessels and your heart. So people that have vascular EDS have a very higher risk of blood vessels bursting, aortic dissections, things like that. It's scary and it's hard to talk about sometimes because my grandfather died at 48 from a blood clot in his heart, and I'm 45 and I'm not ready to go just yet. So if I have the same variant as him, which is I'm guessing here because I didn't have his DNA test and I haven't had my mum's DNA test, but the symptoms go back through my family. So by understanding what the potential cause may be, i.e. a variation in COL3A1 gene, that links together all of the problems that I've had with my eyes, my ears, my throat, my blood vessels, my bladder, my digestive system, because COL3A1 is what encodes for most of your internal organs. And your skin. My skin is, I'm covered from head to toe in stretch marks. And my skin is, I've got so much skin, it's crazy. I can stretch my skin really far. I'm not going to do it on here, it's a bit graphic. But my skin is very, very stretchy compared to the average person. And it breaks easier. And I bleed a lot more than other people seem to. It's not, most of the time, it's not bad. It's not dangerous for me. Because I live a lifestyle that protects me. I can't go do anything with impact. Can't do martial arts or fighting or anything where it risks me falling over. Because if I fall over, I break very easily. And it's not because I'm a wimp. It's not because I'm a weakling. It's because I have a genetic condition that holds my body together with putty. I'm too stretchy. It's not my fault, but there's nothing I can do about it. And there's so many people that live lives like me with no answers to why they're suffering with all these random symptoms in so many different things that they just can't put it together and make it make any sense. So many people dismissed by their doctors for decades because the doctors are too ignorant to think that maybe a rare condition is not as rare as they think it is. They call us zebras because we sound like a horse, but we're not. What a weird way to describe us, but okay. If you want to call us zebras, then fair enough. But the amount of gaslighting, telling patients they're basically crazy and making up symptoms to try and scam people out of some medications because they just want to feel a little bit more human for 5 minutes and actually be able to function in society a little bit better, to be able to get up and actually do something with their day instead of lie in bed in pain, not being able to move. If you've never been bedbound, then it's not a fun experience. It's, you think, oh, you get to lay in bed all day. Really? You think it's fun to lie in bed for 3 months with a broken neck and watch your business fall apart because you can't work? It's not fun to be bedbound with injuries or whatever symptoms you're bedbound with. It's a fucking horrible life for some people. And to have no help and no answers is sad. So this whole channel, the BPM Lifestyle System, is what I wrote to try to live a better life with a condition I can't cure. And I believe through the decades of science that I've studied to build it, that it can help other people too. And it's a rather bold claim, but I believe that if enough people followed the system, that we could reduce the number of people with severe chronic illness by a ridiculous amount. Millions of people could live a better life. We don't have to suffer as much pain as we do. And then maybe because doctors actually start listening to their patients, maybe, it's a crazy idea, I know, but if you can find a doctor who's actually willing to listen to you and help you, then amazing, well done, and I am so glad that you found help. But there's people that don't have any help. They don't have any money. They can't afford to go to all these therapists that are charging them insane amounts of money just to tell them there's nothing they can do to help them. Imagine that. You've been to a specialist. You've just spent an absolute fortune for their advice to say, we don't know. Nothing we can do about it. What next? What do you do next? You've been to your top specialist. Of all the people that you can go to where you live, you've been to the top private hospital you can find. You talk to the best medical person that you can get your hold of, and they don't know. Now what? Well, a lot of people don't even have the option of going and getting that no from their doctor, because they don't have any money to spend, or they go to their GP and they're completely ignored, or pretend that you're pretending you've got symptoms because you want to get some painkillers because you're an addict or whatever they want to shame you for. You're not allowed to live better. Every time I went to the doctor with pain, I literally was, take paracetamol. All right, you think I haven't tried that? You don't think that might have not worked for me, and that's why I'm here? Maybe? You don't want to do a test? Find out why my bones don't work? No? You don't want to do anything? You don't want to do any investigation whatsoever? No. They want to just give me painkillers. And if I wanted anything more than paracetamol, I had to beg. What kind of service is that? This was on the NHS, by the way, just for clarity. This was NHS. So you're just accused of being a drug addict, basically, if you want any painkillers for the chronic pain that no one can stop. And the painkillers barely even do anything anyway. So what's at the end, it's more, I was getting worse problems from the side effects of the medications than the medications were giving me in any benefit. So I was like, I need to get off all of these pills. I was on antihistamines. I was on steroids for my lungs. I was on painkillers all the time. I had constant infections. I was having antibiotics after antibiotics after antibiotics. They were threatening to cut my tonsils out. They were threatening to cut my eyes open. I lost my hearing in my right ear. My right leg doesn't work properly. Everything is weird in my body and nobody can do anything. So if you're in that situation and you're living in a body that is a bit weird and no one will help you, then this is not a sales pitch, but getting a private DNA test can give you some insight. I'm not saying that it's the ultimate solution, but it might give you some clues. It might give you some idea where to start looking. Because if you've got your code, then you can make changes to optimize your code, which is what I did. I got my code and I figured out that I shouldn't be on these opiate painkillers anyway, because I have a gene that makes them more dangerous. And that's maybe why I had such bad symptoms from them, because I shouldn't have been on them in the first place, but they didn't give me any other option. I found out why ibuprofen gave me asthma attacks, because I have a gene that causes ibuprofen allergy, and it can cause anaphylaxis if I take ibuprofen. And that's one of the first things they try to give you in hospital or doctors. They take ibuprofen. I was like, no, it'll kill me. Don't give it to me. I have to make sure that I don't let them go anywhere near me with medications, because they keep giving me stuff that makes me allergic. It's scary. And they just hand them out to anyone. And just something over the counter can kill me. No. So I try not to take any pharmaceuticals unless it's absolutely essential to save my life. I won't do painkillers unless I'm completely immobilized. So it's don't need to be too doom and gloom. It's a horrible condition to live with, but there are ways that you can live better, I promise. It's hard, and some days are worse than others, but the goal is to try and have more good days than bad. Try and have a few happier moments than sad moments. Try to cherish the days that you do feel good, but don't try to linger too long in the ones that you feel really bad. It's hard sometimes to move through life when you're in pain every day, not just from the pain that you suffer in your body, but the emotional pain that you suffer from the neglect and abuse from people around you, especially when you're not believed. It's hard. They make out you're crazy because you've got all these weird symptoms that they don't understand because they don't have your condition. They can't empathize with you because they've got no concept of what it's like to be you. They don't feel the pain that you're feeling all the time and the things going around in your head that you don't want there. It's hard. But there are ways that you can live better. I promise you. There are ways that you can help support your body to live its best life. The best life you can with the DNA you have. You can't change your DNA. And at the moment, we may in the future be able to do gene therapy, but right now, it's not an option. So if you can't change your DNA, you can still do your best to change your mental state and your environment to support your DNA better. And I know it's hard. The world is expensive. You think healthcare is expensive. You think food is expensive. Everything is expensive because it is. You're being scammed in every possible way. They want to take all your money. They don't care about you. They want your money. And they want to keep you buying their products that are killing you slowly. Do you want to continue along that path? Or do you want to try a different way that maybe is a little bit strange? Maybe it will get you out of your comfort zone a little bit more than you want to. But outside your comfort zone is where you grow and where you learn and where you experience a new way of life. I made the BPM lifestyle for everyone, but specifically for those who really need help and don't have it. It's very simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy because we live in such a horrible world where everything healthy is expensive or shamed. And this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Anyone who engages in behaviors that benefit their health are ridiculed. Absolutely brutally attacked in some cases because they do something that the mass majority don't do, and that is care about themselves and the planet and others. So if you're ready to actually start taking care of your biochemistry, then join the BPM Lifestyle System. It's free for now. At the moment, you can go on bpmlifestyle.com/start and download the book, the ebook. It's free. It'll give you the 21 principles that if you integrate into your life, you will improve the quality of your life, guaranteed. If you don't integrate them into your life, then you will not improve your quality of your life. Simple as that. And these are rules of the universe. They're not my rules. They're just the universal laws of nature. And you either abide by the laws of nature and live in alignment with them, or you get sick. And if you're already sick from a genetic condition, the last thing you need is to also add more fuel to the fire by living a lifestyle which is adding more damage. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard to have self-control, especially when it comes to things that make the pain a little bit easier to deal with, the things that we search for, that maybe we get a little bit too attached to because there's no other way out of the pain. Alcohol's the biggest problem in the world in terms of how much damage it does to people's minds and bodies. But it makes them feel a little bit less shit about their life, so they do it anyway. With all the other addiction problems we have in the world, it's sad to watch. But sometimes these people have no other choice because the doctors won't help them. They can't afford medical treatment. What else do you do? So I want to make it a new world where people live the best chance they have with the body they have. But that only happens if we all decide that we want to live a better life, that we help disabled people instead of make their lives 100 times harder. It's not that difficult to build a world where we can help people that are struggling instead of leave them to die in the street. We can help children by listening to their symptoms, and even if we can't cure them, we can at least do what we can to make their lives a little bit more better, rather than just abuse them every fucking day. Excuse my language, but growing up in the 80s and 90s was a rough time for a weird kid. A neurodivergent kid with a chronic illness was not a good place to be. It wasn't safe. And the world is even worse now because the bullying is all online. So if you're slightly weird and you're online, you're just going to get even more abuse. It's absolutely crazy. It doesn't have to be that way. We can live a better way. We can live a better life and more in alignment with our soul's purpose on this planet. We don't have to hate each other so much for being a different shape or a different color or having different abilities to others. Just because someone has a physical disability doesn't mean that they don't have other things that other people would see as gifts. Look at what Stephen Hawking did. He wrote some of the most amazing books in science by twitching his eye to write on a computer. How amazing is that? But to the rest of the world, he can't speak. He's in a wheelchair. He's no value. I hate this idea that people's value is determined on the amount of physical work they can do. It's not 1900. We're not in the workhouse anymore. People with disabilities like EDS, we need support. A little bit of help wouldn't go amiss. A little bit of understanding from doctors wouldn't go amiss. A little bit of at least not dismissing what we say and do as being attention seeking or literally lying to get prescribed some drugs. What the fuck, man? No, I want help. But you won't help. So that's why I made the BPM Lifestyle System available to everyone for free. If you want me to teach it to you personally, then there's a fee, but the principles are free to learn. If you learn the 21 principles and apply them in your life, you will improve the quality of your life. It's guaranteed. Whatever state you're in. I don't care. Even if you've only got 1 week to live. If you live the BPM lifestyle for the last week, you will have a better last week than you do now. So, EDS is a weird condition. It's not as rare as it seems to be, I don't think. I think it seems to be a more common than people were originally believing it to be. If you have weird symptoms that don't make sense, then go to the EDS website, Ehlers-Danlos Society website, and it will tell you more, specialist material. This is my personal information. This is not medical advice or anything like that. This is just my story. So if you want to learn actually about EDS, then go to the EDS websites, read about it. If any of it sounds resonant to your experience of life, then it gives you an idea of what direction to look in. When you don't know where to look, you don't know what's wrong, you don't know how to connect the dots, then you don't know what to do next. But if you have connected the dots, if you figured out something and you know that, okay, this is why, even though I can't cure the reason why, if I know why, then I can try to adapt my lifestyle to better support my needs. And that's all you can ever do in life, is try to support your needs more than you do now to improve your experience of life on Earth. I've been homeless twice. The second time was from a car crash and I couldn't work because my body broke. It was 3 years before I managed to get rid of the pain from the car crash. 3 years in recovery. I busted my neck, my collarbone. It wasn't fun. And I lost everything. I lost $1 million business and had to rebuild everything from nothing while in a bed, barely able to move my neck and my shoulder. And I was like that for a long time. And I was going to whatever therapists I could find that could try to help me, osteopaths or spiritual therapists or massage therapists, aromatherapy, acupuncture, the whole shebang. I've tried loads of them, and everything offered a little bit of temporary relief here and there, but nothing fixed anything long term. Until I built the BPM lifestyle and was pain-free for the first time in 25 years. I'm not saying it will get you pain-free, but I'm saying that if you try it, you won't know if it make you pain-free or not if you don't try. So it's my invitation to you to up-level your care for yourself as much as you can, in as many, whatever steps you need, or whatever pace is right for you, to take one step into trying to look after your body a little bit better, try to meet your needs a little bit better, try to meet your mental and physical needs a little bit better, and your environmental needs. Just make one little decision now to say, I'm going to start taking better care of my needs, even if I don't have any support from anyone else. Because that's the loneliest part of EDS or any chronic illness, is the loneliness. The people not understanding how you experience world, and you've got no one to talk to even. You can't even discuss what's going on with you because no one cares, no one listens. And if you do say anything, they mock you or shame you or ridicule you or just whatever. They're not supportive in any way. If you're in that situation, you don't have any support, then that's what the BPM Lifestyle System is for, is to give you support, to help, to have some community where you can share whether you've had a bad day or a good day, but you can talk about it with someone who might understand your position better. The loneliest place is if you're in a relationship with someone who doesn't understand you. And I see so many in the EDS support groups of people saying, my partner just doesn't understand what I'm going through and it's so lonely. Imagine that, having a partner not support you, that you're supposed to be married to, in sickness and in health, isn't it? Not if you've got a chronic condition, no. Then the rules change. So many people are lonely and scared. They don't know what's going on in their bodies, and the doctors don't help them. They get dismissed for decades sometimes, if they ever find any answers. And that's sad that people have to go through that. When a little bit of education, a little bit of compassion from doctors to say that, okay, maybe this isn't that rare. Maybe if someone presents these quite obvious symptoms, that maybe we should look a little bit further into it instead of calling them crazy and that they've just got anxiety and all these other things that they label you with. I don't know what more to say about the past treatment to make it obvious that doctors and pharmaceutical companies are not coming to save you. There's nothing they can do. Not much. There's a few things they can do to make you more comfortable. There's a few medications that maybe they can give you to make your life a little bit more bearable. But they can't cure it. And that's really sad. To have to be told that there's nothing we can do. But at the end of the day, you're the same person you've always been up to the day of diagnosis, or even if you've not been diagnosed yet, your experiences are real. They are you. They are your experience of life, whether that's mental, physical, or emotional, or environmental, or whatever. This is your creation. You are your experience of life is unique to you. And if your experience of life is not your ideal dream life, then try to take a few steps towards a better one. Just take it as slow as you need. You don't want to rush into something and overwhelm yourself and find out that you're going to cause more damage than you have now. But maybe take one small step towards taking better care of your needs. that's what the BPM lifestyle is about. It's about trying to teach you ways that you can take care of your biological needs better. That's all it is. It's not about curing anything. It's about looking after your biochemistry, because you're a big bag of chemicals. You are 30, maybe 50 trillion cells, and each of those cells has a massive chemical factory inside it. And it's building all these molecules all day long to keep you alive. Wow, what an amazing machine. You've got little tiny robots in you that go around and they fix you when you're broken. They build new proteins. They build new cells. It's amazing, the machinery that goes on in biochemistry. It's such a beautiful concept. All the different components in the cell all talking to each other to communicate which molecules to build, all automatically. Wow, you are amazing. You are so special, and you are the only one of your kind. You're the only you. Why did you come here? Why are you on Earth? You have something to give, something to share, some message to send, some people to help, something to build, some dream. You have some dream in you somewhere. Maybe you've forgotten. Maybe you've been in pain so long that you don't remember that you had a dream when you were younger. But those dreams don't die. Our physical body is a vessel for us to be able to build these dreams. And when you have a physical disability, that makes that building of the dream more challenging, but not impossible. It's not impossible. It's just more difficult. But with some support and with some guidance, with some understanding of basic chemistry and biology, you can learn better tools of how to manage your life in a more suitable way for your DNA. Because modern life is not designed around human health. It's not designed around anything beneficial anymore. Most of the food isn't really food anymore. People drink poison every day for fun. We live in polluted cities where you can't even breathe without getting some kind of lung disease. We're butchering all of the planet to grow food, to feed animals so we can eat their dead bodies and then get sick from it. All these things are done by human behavior. We can change that today. We can say no more. I'm going to look after my body the best I can for its biochemistry, not my opinion. Because chemistry doesn't lie. Chemistry has fixed rules about what molecules do. And you can't decide whether you want to follow that rule or not. Your body follows biochemical law. The atoms will do what they need to do to keep you alive. And the more you push that balance out of its biochemical alignment, then you will increase your risk of having more symptoms arrive in the future. And if you already have a condition now, then adding more complexity to that in the future by not helping your body give it the best chance of living healthily by giving it what it needs, then your life will deteriorate faster than it could. And I want people to live longer, happier, and healthier lives. But the only way to do that is to change our behavior at a social level. That we stop hating people for being different. We stop poisoning ourselves every day for fun. We start caring about other people and help each other instead of use each other for money and fame. Wow. Oh, look at all this celebrity worship culture for people that do nothing, nothing useful, and yet scientists are ashamed and ridiculed and hated by society for building the whole world we live in. It makes no sense that we worship these celebrities and sports people, but people who change the world barely hear anyone's names. It's weird. So you have a choice that you can accept your position now and do nothing about it and just say that I'm going to live with this pain forever. Or you can say, okay, I've got this condition. It's not possible to cure it, but maybe I can make some changes to help my life, to help me feel a little bit less tired each day. Maybe I can, if I can get just 5% more energy, then maybe I could do one little thing more that I enjoy in my day. There's things that we can do. There's lots of things you can do for free that will help your body maintain its biochemistry better. But until you change what you do, you can't improve anything. So you have to maybe accept the fact that what you're doing now hasn't been supportive of your life. We pick up habits. We've learned from our society about what we do and how we eat and what we do for entertainment and all these other things. We pick these up from our surroundings. So you all have unique experiences. You have unique belief systems. You have all this programming from your particular family and school and environment that you grew up in that wasn't based on science. It was based on experience and opinion. But your body doesn't care about opinion. Your body cares about getting the nutrients that it needs to live. And the sensory experience it needs to thrive. Because if you're constantly under attack, like a child who's being bullied every day, you're constantly in fight or flight mode. You're dissociating from your body. You are not with it at all. You don't want to be in your body. That's no way to live. So when you try to actually take care of your needs, then the symptoms that I had growing up, that I had for 25 years, most of them are now under control. Not 100% gone, but under control. I'm not in pain every day. And that to me feels like a miracle. Church never did anything for me. All this singing and praying as a kid didn't do shit. Sorry for the language, but it didn't. Didn't fix my pain, didn't do anything for me. And then I found out the church doesn't like gay people anyway, so I was like, well, that's definitely not going to help me then, is it? This is punishment, maybe. No kid should be believing that they've been punished by God for something, that they have to live in pain forever. That's a horrible thought for a child to have. So, I give you a choice. Do you want to go and learn a bit more about how to look after yourself a bit better? Go to bpmlifestyle.com, read the website. If you've got any questions, email me, contact me through social media, leave a comment, or however you want to ask a question, then I can help maybe. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so you can't ask me medical advice, but I can give you experiential advice and wisdom from years of studying science to try and figure out my own body. But I want to empower people to say you have more power to change your state than you believe you have. You don't have to suffer so much. You really don't. There are things that you can do to try and improve your life, and it's not the next pill. It's not the next expensive toy. It's just free things that your body needs that you need to give it. But we don't, as a society, we don't meet our biological needs. We meet our desires, and that messes everything up because we sacrifice our needs for our desires. We sacrifice our needs for the needs of others. We're taught at school that you obey, you do as you're told, and you go and get a job and you work for your employer. No matter how sick you are, you're supposed to always be dedicated to work. But then if you're disabled, and you can't go to have a job, and you can't support yourself because you can't work, no one will employ you. You have to live on benefits, and the benefits are shit, and to try and get benefits is almost impossible sometimes. So what do you do to support yourself? To even meet your basic needs is really hard, let alone pay for expensive theoretical medical treatments that may not even do anything. But if you start to take care of your biological needs the best that you can in the situation that you're in, then maybe you can improve your situation over time. It's not a quick fix. It's not going to fix everything tomorrow. It took me years, decades of studying to find things that worked. Tried all the experiments on myself to make sure that I knew that what I was talking about was actually going on inside my body, so I could try to understand how I can manipulate that system. Because your body is a system of systems. And your cell is a system. Then you have a tissue made of multiple cells. Then those tissues make organs. The organs make systems, and then you are the human system that controls everything else. Your nervous system is the communication between your body and your mind. But no one teaches you how any of this works. Are you given a manual when you're born? You say, here's a manual, here's how a human being works, this is what you need to look after yourself. No one does that. So I'm doing it. I'm writing basically an instruction manual of how to take care of your needs the best you can, even if you're homeless. Because being homeless twice, you don't have money for expensive supplements or treatments or coaches or doctors or whatever. You don't have money for anything, but doesn't mean that you can't take care of some of your needs. You can meet most of your needs without any money, apart from food, because we don't have land anymore. But even food, there's some ways you can get free food. So if you want to find out more about the BPM lifestyle and how it helps me with my EDS, then go to the website, have a look, see if it resonates with you or not. I'm only here to help, sharing my journey because people need help. There's a lot of people out there suffering, and to see that is sad. To experience it is worse. But to be a part of causing the suffering to someone is unimaginable to me. I can't imagine going up to some kid and abusing them because they're weird. What's wrong with you? To anyone who's ever done that to a kid, wow, what the fuck, man? What's wrong with you? Need help. Children, like, it's bad enough when adults attack each other, but to do it to kids, man, savage. So yeah, there is some hope. A lot of people feel hopeless. A lot of people don't want to carry on anymore. They don't want to be here. And I've been there too many times. But there is a way out sometimes. Sometimes you have to search for a long time. You have to go the wrong direction many times. Go around in circles, go up and down the same flight of stairs, not knowing where you are because it's dark and you can't see and you don't know what you're doing, but you're stumbling around and you're gradually building a small map in your brain of how to get out of this hole. And then eventually you get out of the hole and you draw the map for the next person to try and get them out too. And that's what the BPM lifestyle is. It's the map to help lift humanity out of this hole we are all in right now, because it affects everyone. It affects the entire planet. The way we behave is not in alignment with any natural law, and there's only so long you can violate natural law before there's consequences. And we see the consequences every day because 100,000 people die every day from causes that are behavioral, that they can change. And that's a sad thing to see. So my mission is to try and help people, lift them out of the darkness as much as I can with the knowledge I have. If you need more direct help, contact me through the website. I'm happy to help you. So that's enough for today. I might do a couple more lives on EDS during this month. But yeah, EDS is a connective tissue disorder, affects collagen and other genes that affect collagen production, which means your body is a bit wonky. And if you're a bit wonky, you have to take care of your body better. And that's what I built. So if you want to come and see it, come and look at the website. Anyway, that's enough for now. I've been talking for way too long. So we're going to stop now. And I will see you in the next live. Maybe we'll make this a regular podcast. What do you think? Should we do a Sunday podcast? BPM Lifestyle podcast every Sunday, 6 o'clock. How's that sound? Does it sound like a cool idea? Maybe. Let's do a podcast. I'm going to do every Sunday live podcast. So that if anyone does want to come, they can ask questions. So if you're still watching this, if you're watching this on the replay, thank you for watching. I hope this inspired you a little bit to not give up hope. That you can change, even if your doctors can't help you. There's still some hope for you. It's not over yet. They don't know everything. So, thank you for watching. I'll speak to you later.